Welcome to the Elevated Empire Blueprint. 5 steps to growing a 7-figure real estate business without burning out. I bet if you're watching this, you're a little like me. And when you got into the real estate industry, you came into the industry for some version of liking people and liking pretty houses. But you probably figured out pretty quickly that it was really about running a business. I remember when I was first exposed to the real estate industry. My parents lived in the house I grew up in until just a little while ago. And so I really didn't even know what real estate agents did. But when I was about 24 years old, I started shopping for my first condo. I hired a realtor who was a couple years older than me. She drove this little white Mercedes, and I would meet her at a condo, and she would pop open that lockbox and show me the property. And I just thought, oh my gosh, this girl has got it totally figured out. I want to be just like her. So I got my real estate license, marched into a luxury brokerage in Nashville with my resume in a suit, and said, hey, I'd like to sell real estate. They were like, cool, put your resume away, get rid of that suit, and go get your real estate license. So, needless to say, I had no idea what I was getting into. Fast forward almost 20 years later, I am now leader of a top 1% luxury real estate team. I'm founder of Elevated Agents, and I have the honor of hosting the American Dream Selling Nashville, where I get to shine a spotlight on people and places and businesses that make Nashville such an incredible place to live. Most importantly, I am the mom of 2 teenagers, Pierce and Victoria. And I am absolutely obsessed with helping other real estate agents overcome the struggles that plagued my career for so long. Because my path to success was anything but straightforward and direct. First, I was a solo agent, then I was on a team, then I was a solo agent again, then I was on a team again. And then finally in 2016, I started my own team. But I struggled for so long. Let me know if this sounds like you. Early in my career, I was worried all the time about how to build a sustainable business while being a mom. I had 2 small kids, and I was constantly juggling my duties as a mother while trying to have a professional career. And spoiler alert, it wasn't working very well. And I was just constantly worried because I wanted to contribute to my family. I wanted to be successful in my own right. And I was stressed out all the time about it. I was afraid of self promotion. I did not want to come off as salesy. And so, therefore, I didn't know how to actually get clients while walking that fine line. So, instead, I really just sat back and waited for clients to come to me. So, obviously, my business didn't grow the way that I would have liked it to because I just couldn't quite figure out how to promote myself while being authentic. I was confused about where to focus my time and energy. I didn't know what to do on a daily basis in order to bring in new business. I felt controlled by my clients. I had no idea how to set boundaries, and I felt like I was constantly at their beck and call. It never failed that I would be, trying to spend some time with my kids, trying to spend some time with my husband. And of course, that's when an offer comes in. And I had no way of balancing my family obligations with my work obligations. And so work was constantly pulling me away, which then, of course, made me feel super guilty. I was totally overwhelmed by my to do list. Whenever I got new business, I was excited about it, but then all of a sudden my plate was completely overflowing. And so I would never understand how I possibly could grow my business and take on more and more when I was already so overwhelmed with what I had. And I was scared to invest. In fact, investing in myself and my business was a completely foreign concept for many years. I didn't feel like I had steady enough, substantial enough income coming in to justify spending money on my business or spending money on myself. If this sounds like you, if this resonates with you, you are absolutely in the right place. This is the seasonality of motivation that I have experienced so many times in my real estate business, and that I see constantly over and over and over with the people that I work with. You start out the year with maximum motivation. January, you're setting goals, you're super excited, and you take off. You feel really good that this year is going to be different. That continues through February, and then March hits, and then things start to pick up. You're able to sort of balance your good business plan with the business that you have coming in for a while. But then, about the time that April hits, chaos ensues. April, May, and June, you're just basically at the mercy of your clients. Not to mention, if you're a mom like me, you're also juggling all of those end of the year obligations. And so my business plan would go completely out the window. Then fall would come around. The kids would start getting back in school, which was great. But at that point in time, I had completely lost track of all of the intentions that I had set, all of the business development activities that I promised myself I was going to do this year finally. I would kind of lose sight of all of that. And I was so tired and overwhelmed that it didn't feel like it was the right time of year to realign myself with all of those goals. I would just kind of think, okay, well, I'm going to do better next year. Then the fourth quarter comes along, and I call this burnt out and checked out. And this is where you have hit the wall. You may be disappointed with the year. You may feel shame about the way that you didn't show up how you wanted to and how you promised yourself that you would back in January. And so you just kind of check out. You chalk it up to a year that didn't go the way you wanted it to, but you have all the confidence in the world that in January, you're going to start over and this year it's finally going to be different. But then it isn't. This cycle repeats itself. You're constantly in feast and famine money cycles when you do this. You never get to the point that you feel like you can have sustainable income that makes you feel good about yourself. You're not able to hit the goals that you wanted, and you're not able to end your year feeling really accomplished, knowing that you did all of those things that you promised yourself. Can you relate to this? This is how I lived my life for so long. And I am here to tell you it doesn't have to be this way. So, back in the early days of my real estate career, I was your typical mom with a real estate license. When I think back to those days, I remember myself literally hiding in the pantry from my kids. I would have a client call and I would take the call from the pantry, praying that they could not hear my kids on the other side of the door begging for a snack, which made me feel awful about myself. I just felt like such a failure, both at home and at work, that I actually quit selling real estate. I retired my license and just decided that this was not for me. And then just a couple years later, the unthinkable happened. In 2014, while my kids were just 3 and 5 years old, my marriage fell apart. And all of a sudden, I had to figure out how to make a living all on my own. And if there was one thing I knew, it was that I was not going back to selling real estate. It had not worked out for me the first time, and there was no way I was going down that road again. But lo and behold, I looked at my options, and those same things that caused me to get into this industry naively were the same things that brought me back into it. But I was coming from a very different place. Now, when you look at this picture, what I see, other than my very, very skinny 90s eyebrows, is I have this deer in the headlights look. When I see this, I see the fear behind my own eyes. I see the lack of confidence. I see that vulnerability, wondering if I was going to be able to make it this time when I had failed in the past. But I had these two cute kiddos and they were watching. I came home one day and they had put their playhouse for sale. And it showed me like these kids are watching what I'm doing, and I have an opportunity here to show them a different way. I can either be the mom that sits back, chalks it up to, well, that just didn't work for me, or I can be the mom that comes back and does things completely different, takes control of her business, and has something to be proud of. I recently heard this quote by Ed Milet, and it absolutely hit me over the head. He said one of the most insidious forms of child neglect is a parent who doesn't chase their dreams and potential. Think about that for a second. My kids are now 13 and almost 16. And if I'm taking them to school and I'm talking to them about being their best every day and chasing their dreams and going after their highest potential, how on earth can I do that if I'm not doing that myself? And if there is one thing I want you to take away from this, I want you to remember this. I want you to remember that you owe it to yourself, not just to yourself, but you owe it to the people that love you and that count on you. Whether you have kids right now or not, you owe it to the people in your life, your future family, to be the very highest and best version of you. And that's what I'm so excited to share with you today. Now, this feels very, very vulnerable for me to share, but this is my actual sales volume in real estate starting in 2005 when I got my license. As you can see, those early years were pretty slow. And then you can see when it totally flatlined after 2010, when I retired my license and just chalked it up to this is not going to work for me. But what's cool about this is that I can tell you exactly why every one of those spikes came after the fact. You can see that in 2014, when I got divorced and I came back into real estate, signs of life were there. And then you can see the big spike that I experienced in 2015, another huge spike in 2019, another one in 2020 and 2021. And then I am so proud to say that we started this year with over $150 million worth of listings in our pipeline, which was 5 times more than we had ever had at the start of any year before. But I can tell you exactly why each of these huge places of growth happened. And that's what I'm going to share with you today. If there is one thing I know, having been a failure and then finally figured out my path to success, it is that you will be happier and more productive than ever when you spend most of your time doing what you enjoy and what you're good at. It is as simple as that. There are so many things that you can be doing to grow a successful real estate business, to be a successful agent. But here's the thing, if you're trying to do the wrong things, you're going to procrastinate. You're not going to love them. You're not going to be great at them. If you can hone in on what you really value and you can build a business that's in alignment with your strengths, you will be so happy and you will be your most productive. And not only will you be successful in this industry, you'll also be fulfilled. And that is a completely different place to be. Today, I'm the leader of the Herd Newman team, a top 1% luxury real estate team, and I was inspired to create Elevated Agents just for agents like you who know that they are worthy of more, who know that they can have a business that they can be proud of and that feels like all their own, and that you can have the independence that only comes from having a business that is yours. And I want you to get there way faster than I did. So imagine with me for a minute. This is what your business could be like. You could wake up every day and you could spend time doing morning rituals that you love. You can approach your workday with a calm sense of confidence. You can take control of your email and your correspondence where you're calling the shots with your inbox and you are free from overwhelm and distraction. You can have a brand based business where you are directing your on and offline reputation so that you're magnetically attracting clients, your dream clients, 24/7. You can go about your appointments and your projects with a total confidence. You can be the leader that your clients need you to be so that they're more likely to refer you to other clients. You can have present and connected evenings with your friends and family where you're not constantly being pulled back into work after hours. And you can have evening wind down rituals that make you feel accomplished and fulfilled and excited to wake up the next day and do it all again. I am telling you, this is absolutely possible. And if you're sitting here like Lacey, I do not believe it. Don't take my word for it. Listen to the words of one of my actual clients whose home I sold just a few months ago. She said, I can tell you as a client, I would never not use Lacey again because what she does feels different. For the first time ever selling or purchasing a home, I wanted her to receive the full commission because I feel like she earned it. So imagine for a minute, imagine having this kind of feedback from the clients you serve while also having the life that I just described. If it is possible for me, I promise it is possible for you. That girl whose picture I showed you in 2014 with the deer in the headlights look, never in her wildest dreams did she think that she would be sitting here right now talking to you, having a top rated Emmy nominated TV show, having her thoughts and insights featured in national publications like the Wall Street Journal, and having the opportunity to share everything she learned with an amazing group of agents. I mean, truly, I never would have dreamt this. And I just say this because I want to encourage you that your future can be so much brighter than you can even imagine. Whatever has happened up to this point, it doesn't matter. You have the ability to completely turn around your life and your real estate business. And what I'm going to teach you today, what I'm going to share with you, is the very first step to doing that. What I teach my students in my signature course, the Elevated Agent Collective, is essentially every single thing I've done, my complete methodology where I've reverse engineered everything I did, taking my business, you saw it from literally zero in 2014 all the way to stacking $150 million worth of listings in our pipeline. And I did it on my own terms. So, what I'm going to share with you today are some of the biggest accelerators that you would learn in my program that have made the biggest, most impactful changes in my life and business. Today, I'm going to teach you the blueprint to align and accelerate your business. These are the 5 factors that every empire has. And if you can just take hold of these and remember these things, you can make absolutely dramatic changes in the way that you feel and the way that you show up for your clients and the way that you actually walk with purpose in your real estate business. And I'm so excited to share these with you. Now, I call this a blueprint, okay? I'm not calling this a playbook. I am not going to tell you exactly what you should do. I'm going to help you discover for yourself your own path to success. Now, I'm going to give you a little story here. My best friend Ashley and I in 2020, we built houses side by side, which, by the way, I highly recommend living next to your best friend. It's amazing. But when we built our houses, they started out with the same plans. They're the same size, they have the same number of beds and baths, they have the same size lot. But our homes ended up being completely different because we customized them to fit our individual lifestyle. I have a son and a daughter. She just has one daughter. So right away, I needed 2 bedrooms to go to my children. And she was able to turn one of her secondary bedrooms into a TV room for her child, which is great. We have a very different sense of interior design style. So our light fixtures, our finishes, our countertops, our fixtures, they're all very different from one another. She has 2 dogs. I wanted an excuse not to get another dog, so I hardscaped and put in a patio pool in the back. So even though our homes started with the same blueprint, our actual houses turned out vastly different from one another. And that's what I want you to understand about your business and about your plan, and why anybody who's telling you, I have the playbook for you to follow, that's not going to work for you nearly as well as when you create your own path to success. And what I specialize in is helping you figure that out for yourself, because you are so much more likely to do what you say you're going to do, to enjoy doing it, and to be successful at it when you're doing what is aligned with your strengths and values. I never have I, and never will I cold call. I will never door knock. I will, honestly, I am barely even good at using my CRM. Those are things that are not aligned for me. But what I can do is I can show up online authentically. That's my cup of tea. It might not be yours. And I'm not knocking any particular thing. There are a million ways to be successful in this business. But let me just say, if I were going to cold call in almost 20 years, it would have happened by now. I haven't done it by now, I'm not going to. And if there are things that you've been told you have to do to be successful in real estate, I want to tell you right now, that is not true. Let yourself off the hook and let's discover together what you want to do, what will make you happy, what will be aligned with your highest value self. And let's go all in on that because you can have a wildly successful real estate business on your own terms. Okay, let's dive in. Accelerator one, empires have boundaries. Elevated agents have strong professional boundaries, which make you a better agent. When I first started, I was like Waffle House. I was open 24/7. I thought that my duty and responsibility as an agent was to follow my clients' directions as quickly as possible. I was not leading my clients, I was reacting. And living in reactive mode was driving me quickly towards burnout, and I wasn't serving my clients at the highest level. Hear me out. This is how having boundaries with your clients actually make you a better agent. When we have strong professional boundaries, it establishes professional respect. When we are respected by our clients, they trust in our expertise. And when they trust in our expertise, they have better outcomes, which of course leads to happy clients and more referrals. Think about it. You are a high level professional. What other professional service provider would you ever expect to answer your call about something completely mundane at 9:30 at night? Nobody. You wouldn't treat your doctor that way. You wouldn't treat your lawyer that way. You wouldn't expect your CPA to respond to you at night. Why is it that as real estate agents, this has just become the norm? But when we walk, talk, and act like the high level professionals that we are, it actually benefits our clients. Truly, I have seen this over and over. And let me tell you, not only is it better for your clients, it makes you feel so much more professional, so much more confident, and really be valued and respected. And when you have that value and respect, and you're not just a gopher who is responding and reacting in your business, you will feel so much better about your business. And you'll have the capacity to serve more clients, resulting in you making more money. So let's talk about some real estate boundary scenarios. In my program, the Elevated Agent Collective, we address all of the biggest boundary breaking issues that we agents face with our clients. But let me go through probably one of the biggest. Let's talk about after hours communication. What this looks like is you feeling completely overwhelmed because your phone never stops ringing. Have you ever wanted to throw your phone out the window? I definitely have. Your clients and other agents, by the way, are calling you at all hours of the day and texting you about non urgent, non time sensitive items. I mean, the number of broker open house invitation text messages I get on the weekend is ridiculous. If we as agents would just respect each other enough to communicate about things that aren't time sensitive during normal business hours, the collective stress level of this industry would be so much lower. But here's my philosophy. You are a business. And just like every other business, your communication boundaries are very much within your control. You can communicate your hours and let your clients and other agents know when you're available for non emergent issues. So, what this looks like, here's what you can do about this right now. Number one, lead by example. If you don't want your clients calling and texting you at night, then you don't call and text them at night. If you want them to schedule calls with you, you ask to schedule calls with them. Your clients are going to follow your lead. At this point in life, the majority of my clients do not pick up the phone and call me. Instead, they reach out to me by email or text and ask when they can schedule a call. Why do they do this? Because that's what I do with them. I don't pick up the phone and call my clients. I ask to schedule a call. Because think about it. I am serving my clients at a much higher level if they are not calling and catching me in the car with my children. They are getting better service if I am sitting in front of my computer with their contract pulled up, focusing on nothing but them. It is so important that you have every interaction with your clients be an example of your professionalism. And when we are talking to clients on the fly at all hours of the night, we're not being a professional. We've crossed that line into the friend zone. And while it's important that your clients know you, like you, and trust you, we want them to respect you because the respect is what's tied to the trust. So instead of picking up the phone and calling or texting your clients, I want you to reserve your own communications to them to normal business hours. You can use things like Calendly to help schedule meetings. It really sets the tone that you're a professional. You don't expect for your doctor to pick up the phone when you call. This is the same thing. You are a high level professional transacting people's most important asset, and you deserve to be treated as such. And when you are treated as such, your clients benefit. You can use things like scheduling the iPhone unread message so that you don't forget those text messages that come in late. You can schedule your emails to go out at 8 a.m. Even if you decide that you want to write them at 10 o'clock because you're a night owl, schedule them to go out in the morning. This sets the boundaries and sets the tone for you being the professional that you are. If you are going on vacation, use your vacation responder. Lean on another agent who can help cover your needs while you're gone so that you can take a much needed break. And then do the same for them when they need it. There are so many things you can do. This is just one tiny example on one boundary issue that we agents face, but there are so many things that you can do that will not only improve your quality of life and how much you love your business and how successful you can be in your business, but also really benefit your clients. It's just contrary to what we have been taught. But in order to have strong professional boundaries with our clients, we have to know what they are. So here's the way I think about it. I think about my boundaries in terms of what is in my inner circle. My inner circle would be what lights me up. These are the people, these are the things, these are the activities that I would do whether I was being paid or not. They're the people that build me up, that increase my energy instead of draining it. Those are the ones, they get free reign in my life for the most part because they're energy giving. My middle circle would be the things that I'm okay with. For example, listing appointments. I would not say that I absolutely love doing listing appointments, but I know that I'm great at them and I know that they bring so much value to my business. So I'm good with those. But then there are other things like that I would rather not do. For example, I do not love doing open houses. I don't do them anymore because I know that I'm not great at them. There are other people on my team and in my office that are much better at open houses than I am at this point. And so I choose not to do those things. And then you've got your hard stop non-negotiables. These are the things that you just have to decide for yourself. This is no longer part of my business, and that's okay. Maybe you've gotten to the point that you say, okay, I am not going to do my own transactions anymore. It is more beneficial for me to have a transaction coordinator manage my paperwork. And this is something that I'm ready to delegate and get rid of permanently in my business. And we're going to talk more about how to do that later. But you really need to determine for yourself, where are those boundary lines? Where do those things exist? Who are the people? What are the activities? What are the things in your business that you need to cut out? Because you need to be able to have more energy and have more time for the things that you really love. It's going to give you so much more fulfillment. It's going to allow you to be so much more successful. So, really think about your boundaries. Think about where these lines are and then how you can communicate them effectively and kindly and generously to your clients. It will benefit you in more ways than you can imagine. When you do this, you are no longer battling burnout. You will be perceived so much more professionally, and you'll be valued and you'll feel valued, which will increase your energy and your motivation. Accelerator 2, empires have vision. Now, in real estate, we talk a lot about goals, but I'm here to tell you vision is much more important. Let me explain. Goals are an important measurement, right? But they're not really what we're after. For example, if I say I want to earn $1 million this year, it's not really on the deepest level about earning $1 million. It's really about the lifestyle that I can have if I have that kind of money. It's about the way that I feel about myself and my sense of pride in my business. It's about the freedom that I have to make decisions. It's about the generosity that I can show to my family and friends. It's not about the $1 million. It's about how I live and what I can do with it and the person that I become after I've attained that. And in order to have that, you've really got to focus on the vision, not just the goals behind it. Because attaining the goals that we set is a result of the person that we become and the opportunities that we create. You will create your most ideal opportunities when you show up as your most ideal self. This is what I want you to do. I want you to think about who you are today, the life and the business that you currently have, how you show up on a daily basis, the roadblocks, the vices, the bad habits that you have that are standing in the way of the life that you really want. Now, I want you to think about your ideal self. In a perfect world, you can wave a magic wand. Those vices, those roadblocks, those insecurities, they're completely gone. What would you look like in that moment? I want you to take a moment and really reflect on that. Who is the version of you when you are living up to your fullest potential? I want you to think about what your life looks like, what your business looks like, how you act, how you show up, how you spend your time, who you're surrounded with, what resources you have. All of those things go in to you creating your most ideal opportunities. And then I want you to focus on that ideal life intersect. Your goal is that every single day you get up and you move just a little bit closer from the person you are right now to that ideal version of yourself. How many of your current habits, your strategies, your business, your lifestyle, how much of that is aligned right now with that best version of you? And every day, I want you to make incremental, small movements towards that ideal self. Huge change is not something that happens overnight. It looks like it happens overnight, but really it is the culmination of micro adjustments that happen every single day consistently over a long period. So, what can you do every day to show up just 1% closer to the person that you know that you really can be? When you do this, when you focus on your standards, when you focus on your consistency and really moving towards the best version of you, when you do this, your inner world shapes your outer world. You know, manifestation is not magic, it is science. It's that when you have a vision and you hold the belief in that vision throughout the day, then you start making decisions from that future place. And then you make little micro adjustments all the time that end up creating the outcome that you desire. When you do this, you become aligned. Your all areas of your life become aligned and you invite and embrace change. One of the things that holds us back so much is a fear of the future, a fear of what might be. But the reality is that if you are at point A and you want to be at point B, not only must you not fear change, you actually have to welcome it. You have to be open to it and want it. And sometimes that feels very vulnerable and scary, but doing anything other than that is what's keeping you stuck exactly in the place that you are. Accelerator 3, empires have strategies. In 2014, when I came back into the real estate business after my divorce, I rejoined a team that I had been on previously. And things were very, very chaotic. It was an incredible team. There was a lot of business happening, but there was also a lot that was slipping through the cracks. And so I started creating this really simple spreadsheet to just keep on top of the deals that we were doing, how much money everybody was making, what was being brought in, just to keep everybody in the loop. And once I started doing this, I noticed something really quickly. And that was that my one of my other teammates was bringing in the lion's share of the business. And I was running the business and I was selling all the listings. And it became really clear to me that he and I needed to go out on our own. And so taking the time to really look at our numbers and focus on what was happening in our business shined this light on this incredible opportunity. And then we made a strategic move that absolutely exploded our business and our income. And the truth is, you cannot really grow your business until you own your business. So many agents, myself included, have no idea what their business looks like. It's the same thing as so many people who just stick their head in their sand about their finances because they're uncomfortable with it, they're unsure about it, and so they just ignore it. But let me tell you, this is the worst possible thing that you could do. Ignoring what is true is keeping you in the place that you are. You have to face the reality of your business and really look at it and take ownership of it to make massive changes. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. I created this really easy framework for you to remember how to own your business. The O stands for organize. You have got to organize your past and your current sales. You need to look at where your business is coming from. You need to look at the timing, when it comes in, how much money you're making, the sources of your business, the type of business that you do. You need to break it all down as incrementally as possible so that you can really see what you're doing and when. And you have a total record of everything that you've done so far as an agent. And once you have that, you're going to be able to start directing it. The W stands for worth. Because once you have that information, you can analyze your metrics and you can start to understand the value of your business, which allows you to make informed, data driven decisions. So many people are scared to invest in themselves and their businesses because they just don't really have a handle on what's coming in. But when you analyze your metrics, when you know how much money's coming in, when you know when it's coming in, then you can look at it and you can make smart decisions. I actually have a coaching client this year who knew that she needed to hire an assistant. Truly, she needed an assistant. There were so many things that she wanted to do from a business development standpoint that she didn't have time for. And she was so afraid to hire help. She had all these feelings about it. And I finally said, okay, how much money have you made this year? She had made almost $500,000, but she didn't think about the fact that she'd made that much money and could easily afford an assistant. Instead, she was looking ahead and she was thinking, well, I don't have that much in my pipeline going forward. So I don't need to be spending that money. That is crazy talk. She absolutely could afford it and she needed it. And once she did, everything in her business changed. She was not afraid to invest once she really saw what she had done and looked at it pragmatically. And now she has an assistant. All that business development is happening. And she is set up in a way that when the market comes back this year, she is going to absolutely skyrocket. So I want you to really analyze the value of your business. And I want you to look at what you've made and not just focus on what's ahead because it's uncertain. I mean, when we're in a commission only job, you never know what the future holds. But you need to look at what you've done because what you've done is the best indicator of what you're going to do next and what your potential is. And when you start analyzing this stuff, you can actually direct your own growth. Because the N in own stands for niche. When you know your niche, when you have analyzed the types of clients that you serve, where your business is coming from, and when, you can create a niche that drives your brand. So when my partner and I started our business, our team in 2016, we were only working with developers. We had absolutely not one single buyer or seller of normal real estate. We only were working with developers, which was great. I love that business model, except the fact that we knew they were not making any more land in our area and we needed to diversify the business that we were doing. So we took our track record of success selling new construction and pivoted our messaging to go target regular buyers and sellers of luxury properties. Because think about it. What does a luxury buyer want? They want to know that they are buying the hot lick stuff. They want to know that they're ahead of the trends. They want to know that they are buying something that is valuable, that's going to appreciate over time, and that they're buying something from a builder that has a rock solid reputation and stands by his work. And who knows that better than somebody who's been selling luxury new construction? But then let's think about sellers. If you're selling a resale home, what do you need to know? You need an agent who knows how to sell your resale home against all of the new construction in the area. How do we make that more attractive for somebody who could just go out and buy something new? And who better to tell you than somebody who knows everything about what's happening in the new construction market? So we took our experience and we pivoted it and started targeting a new type of client. And within about 2 years, we had gone from zero regular real estate to completely balancing our portfolio with 50% development and 50% regular buyers and sellers. And we have had that consistently for the last several years. And we now know that it gives us such a more stable business and more consistent income, because while we have a wonderful pipeline of new construction, we also have people who have a much shorter sales cycle. So our business has long-term potential and short-term cash flow. So when you do this, when you really own your business, you have visibility into your business so that you can make informed, data-driven decisions. You have a system and a structure to invest in yourself and your business confidently. You don't have to be scared of putting your money out there because you know that it's going to come back. And you have a strategy that magnetically attracts the clients that you're most powerfully positioned to serve. Accelerator 4, empires have identity. Long-term success is not just about building a business, it is about building a brand. According to a national research study recently conducted by Brand Builders Group, 74% of people in America are more likely to trust someone with an established personal brand. 63% of Americans are more likely to buy from you if you have an established personal brand. 67% of older millennials check out the personal brand of a consultant of any kind before hiring them. And if you think that this is going anywhere, you are wrong, because 67% of Gen Z think that having an established personal brand will be extremely important in the future. And think about this. A seller will not trust you to market their home if they are not impressed with how you market yourself. There is an agent friend of mine recently who was all set to list a $2 million property at a 6% commission. And just before the listing agreement was signed, that seller went on her Instagram account, saw that she had not posted in 5 weeks, and took the job away from her. True story. You absolutely have to have a personal brand. You have to have an online reputation where people can find you and they are impressed with what they see. This is non-negotiable in this day and age. It is not going backward. It is not going anywhere. This is a requirement for our business now. And if you are not clear about what you offer as an agent, they will not be clear about why they should hire you. So becoming really clear and being able to articulate who you are, what you value, why you're trustworthy is one of the most important things that you need to be doing in your business right now. So I'm going to teach you the Elevated Agent's foundational marketing strategy. These are 6 really important tips that will help you, whether you're posting on social media, whether you're sending out a newsletter, whatever type of marketing you're doing, all of these things apply. They are so important. And if you follow these guidelines, you will be way ahead of other people in your market. Number 1, whatever you're doing, you always first have to focus on what is the value that it provides? What is the intention behind what I'm doing? I see lots of people post funny things that are entertaining on social media, but are they really providing value to the client? You know, social media success does not equal business success. And there are a lot of people out there that have a ton of followers and not a lot of money. You need to provide value. You need to help your client understand the most important question: what's in it for me? People are selfish. They just are. We filter out what is not going to serve us in the immediate future. So everything you do, whatever you post, whatever you put out there, it needs to answer that question. Your client needs to easily and quickly understand why they should care. And that's how you're going to get their attention. You need to speak directly to your ideal client. When we have diluted focus, we have diluted results. That is a quote from Rory Vaden, who is one of the foremost personal branding experts. And you have to speak directly to the ideal client that you want to serve, which freaks people out because they think, okay, well, I'm excluding people, but that's not the case. Here's how it really works. When you speak directly to the person that you want to serve, whether that's a first-time home buyer, a luxury seller, whoever it is. When you speak directly to that person, you are strong, you're powerful, you're clear, your message is attractive. And then what ends up happening is not only are you attracting your ideal client, you're also attracting all the other types of people because your energy is contagious. And so honing in and really niching down and specifically creating marketing for your ideal client is actually more inclusive, because when you are generic, get you don't actually connect with anybody. Your message is generic. You're not going to attract the people the way that you will when you're super clear and super targeted. Number 4, and this is really important. If you're somebody who is still shy about showing up on social media, I get it. I was there. I have had to overcome that mental hurdle big time for myself. But what really, really helped me was having a giving over a getting mindset. You need to be focusing more on the value that you're providing, how you're helping, and how you're serving someone, not on what you're going to get from it, not on the likes, not on the resulting business. You just need to keep the focus on the service and the value, and all of the rest of it will come. Now, Craig Sewing, who's the executive producer of the show that I host, The American Dream, he says, don't let your modesty stand in the way of your marketing. These words were probably some of the most impactful in my business than I've ever heard, because like so many other people, I did not want to get on camera. I did not get into this business thinking that selling real estate was going to involve me showing my face on camera and talking on video. That was so uncomfortable for me. And it's so uncomfortable for so many people because it's just not how we were wired, especially of a certain generation. The younger ones, they've got this. They're used to it. And let me tell you, they are coming for your business. There are so many young people who've grown up watching Selling Sunset, watching HGTV, and they think that selling real estate looks really cool. And they're coming for us, y'all. But we are in the sweet spot because we already know how to sell real estate. We're already great at what we do. And we can get good on camera and we can get over our modesty a lot quicker than they can rack up years of experience selling real estate. But I'm telling you, do not let your modesty is a good thing. It's a great thing to be humble. It's a great thing not to be a narcissist and not find joy in putting yourself out there necessarily, but you still need to do it. You need to show who you are, because this is the best, fastest, least expensive, most impactful way to stay top of mind with your clients. And if you don't do it, somebody else is going to. And finally, consistency is the most important thing of all. So many people that I work with, in the beginning, they're really hung up on perfection. And I get it. You're putting yourself out there. It's vulnerable. You want it to be an exact example of who you really are. And like, you're putting your best foot forward. But let me tell you, that's going to keep you stuck where you are. Consistent and just showing up is the most important thing. You've got to rip the Band-Aid off. You've got to get started. You've got to be willing to suck in the beginning. You have to. Just like anything else, you've got to be willing to be new. You've got to be willing to not be great at it. And then once you get used to it, you're going to perfect it over time. And then you're going to have something that you're proud of. But if you sit there and you wait until it's absolutely perfect, it will stand in the way of your success. Because the cool thing is that perfection isn't what's necessary. Just showing up and being yourself and being genuine is. And so just focus on consistent. Don't make it complicated. Do what feels easy. Do what feels fun. Do what you can do consistently. And then you can start getting fancy down the road. So when you do this, when you focus on building a brand-based business, you will have a personal brand that monetizes your reputation 24/7. You will have established your authority online and off, rather than leaving it up for other people to decide your worth. Whether you are putting yourself out there or not, you have an identity, you have a reputation. And if you decide to take control of it, you get to direct it. And when you do this, you know who you serve. You know how you're different. You can articulate exactly who you are and what you're about, and you can connect and convert your audience into clients. Accelerator 5, empires have alliances. The fastest way to elevate your expertise as an agent is to align and connect with complementary and collaborative partners. I did this very early on in my career when I was taken under the wing of a rainmaker in my very first brokerage. Like I said, my parents lived in the house I grew up in until just a couple years ago. I did not grow up in a luxury home, far, far from it. But I became a luxury agent here in Nashville within a really short period of time because I put myself in the right place and I aligned with the right people. And I was just doing open houses. I was shadowing luxury agents. I just got in the circle with the people that were selling luxury properties and I learned from them and I soaked it all up. And before I knew it, I was a luxury agent, even though I had never lived in a luxury home myself. And that's what's so great about this industry is that there are no limitations on what you can do. You need to put yourself in the right place, put yourself in the place that you want to be. But you can't do that if you're getting bogged down with minutia that is below your pay grade. How most agents spend their time is doing what I call $10 activities. They are things that you could pay a teenager or an intern to do. It is like dealing with signs. It is messing with lock boxes. It is printing flyers. It is inputting data into your CRM. We spend so much time on these activities. We spend less time on what I would consider a $100 activity, showings, marketing coordination, hosting an open house. And we spend the least amount of our time on things that actually bring us money, business development activities, marketing direction, contract negotiation, listing presentations. This is how most agents operate, and this is how most agents are stuck at their current production level with money that is not what they want to be making. This is the right way to do it. You need to spend your time doing the things that are your highest revenue generating activities. You need to spend less time doing things that are your $100 activities. And you should spend little to no time doing anything that you could pay an intern $10 an hour to do. Now, what that looks like for you is going to be different than the next person. And so I call this the spectrum of alliances. On the one hand, you've got things like household help, using Shipt instead of spending an hour at the grocery store, getting a housekeeper and instead of spending your weekend cleaning your house, you spend time on the weekend working on your marketing strategy, getting a nanny, getting somebody to help you drive your kids around. In fact, one of the best things I ever did in my business was I had a nanny who helped me with my kids when I was first divorced, pick them up from school, cart them where they needed to go. And I got her to get her real estate license and she started helping me in my business. And then all of a sudden, I had the flexibility on any given day to decide, do I want to keep doing what I'm doing here because it's important and valuable, or do I want to send her to go get my kids? Or can I let her do this work and I'm going to go get my own kids from school? That gave me more freedom and more flexibility than anything else I've ever done. And I could not, if you have small children, I could not recommend that strategy more highly. Maybe you need an assistant. Maybe it's time to have a virtual assistant that you can pay $7 an hour on the other side of the world to help take some of those items off your to-do list. Maybe you use a company like Fiverr on a project by project basis with no commitment. Maybe you're somebody like Haley on my team, who is a super successful agent in her own right, but she loves being on my team instead of going and doing it on her own because she lets me handle the business development. She lets me handle the marketing and bringing in the leads. And so she just gets to spend her time loving on her clients. Or maybe you're somebody that is ready for a coach. Maybe you're somebody who is great at selling real estate. You know what to do. You just need to break through to that next level. And just like you would go hire a trainer because you're unhappy with your health right now and you know you need that motivation and support to help you get to the next level. Maybe that's where you are in your business right now and you want to be in a group coaching program, or you want to have a one-on-one coach, or you want to be a part of a mastermind. Let me tell you, the most successful people in business across all industries have coaches. I have more than one coach, and most everyone I know operating at my level and above does the same thing. This is something that is not just optional when you get to a certain point. This is how you make exponential changes in your business as quickly as possible. Or finally, maybe you're somebody that wants to get out of the day to day. Or maybe you're looking long term and you know that eventually you want to step out of selling. Maybe you love leadership and you're sick of showing houses. Maybe you need to start a team. And so, wherever you are, there's no right or wrong answer, but every single person, if you are making $50,000 a year, you can spend 12 bucks on somebody to help you do some of the lowest level activities. Every single person. If you are listening to this and you're making any money at all in real estate, you need to start delegating your lowest level energy draining activities to someone else so that you can focus on what is actually going to bring in money. So, when you do this, you will have more synergy and you will have more joy in your business because you are doing what you really love and what makes you happy. And you are letting people support you in the things that are not in the highest and best interest and use of your time. You will have increased energy inside and out of work. Imagine that. And you will create more of your most valuable asset, which is your time. So let's recap. These are the biggest takeaways that I want you to leave this with and not forget. Number one, I want you to lead by example, by setting and upholding strong and clear boundaries so that you can become a more professional and productive agent. I want you to own your business and grow your business with a system and a structure that magnetically attracts your ideal client. I want you to establish and take control of authority of your on and offline reputation so that you can define your own value. And I want you to align and connect with complementary and collaborative partners so you can create more time, energy, and business. I want you to show up as your most ideal self so that you can create your most ideal opportunities every day. So, this is an actual conversation that I was having in Instagram with a follower recently. She said, I hear all these great ideas, but the problem is I don't really know how to implement them. And what I told her is that's not surprising at all because what so many people are sharing is the what, but not the how. And what I've learned and what I've done, and as you saw how I took my business from literally zero all the way to running a top 1% luxury team, was through a tremendous amount of trial and error. And I have a brand based business. I don't door knock, I don't cold call, I barely use my CRM. I attract clients magnetically through social media. But there is so much more to it than just the technical aspects of how to post online. There is so much more to it. And so many people are sharing what to do. But what they're not taking into consideration is how freaking busy we are. As real estate agents, we are not content creators full time. We have businesses to run, we have clients to serve, which makes all the good intentions in the world of showing up on social media to be something that honestly gets pushed to the back burner more quickly than anything else. And that's where I am really able to help people. That's how I'm really able to serve, is because I know how to create a brand based business. I know how to leverage marketing to attract clients. But I also, because I'm running a team myself, I know how to make it work within the business that you're already operating. And so it's not just about showing up. Building a brand is not just about showing up online. Your business has to be in order. You have to have boundaries with your clients. You have to optimize your productivity so you have the space and the brain power to be creative, to start creating content that grows your brand. That's the thing. That's the disconnect that so many agents are facing when they want to have a brand based business. You can learn the brand, but if you don't know how to incorporate the brand into your schedule and into your life as an agent and make it work for you, it's not going to happen. So, if you've been nodding along thinking, yes, this is exactly what I've been feeling, but how do I actually implement it consistently and confidently? I want to show you what it looks like when you step out of that cycle and into your next level of leadership. Welcome to the Path of Elevation, your journey from reactive hustler to embodied CEO. This is where you finally build a business that feels just as good on the inside as it looks on the outside. Maybe you're realizing that success isn't just about more closings and transactions. It's about elevating every part of how you show up, your brand, your vision, your energy, your income, and your confidence as the CEO of your business. In case you're wondering whether this approach works, this is the exact strategy that helped me build a RealTrends top 1.5% luxury team with over $650 million worth of residential real estate sold just since 2020. But more importantly, it allowed me to create a business that is sustainable, fulfilling, and fully aligned with the life that I actually want. Now, you might recognize this cycle because I lived this for many, many years. You start out the year completely new year, new me. You've got max motivation. You put together a business plan and you're committed that this year is going to be different. But then, somewhere around spring break, things start heating up. The market starts picking up. You get busier with clients. And then all of a sudden, your best laid plans kind of find themselves in a drawer. By the time summer gets here and the kids get out of school, or you're trying to go on vacation, or you just want to get outside and enjoy your life, complete chaos ensues. You're just trying to survive. Then by the time fall rolls around, you're unfocused, you're exhausted, and you're starting to feel disappointed in yourself. And then by the time winter hits, you're burnout, you're checked out, and you're just thinking to yourself that you'll start over next year. This is the loop that so many agents are stuck in. It's inconsistent lead flow. It's having no clear systems. It's always operating from urgency instead of intention. But take it from me, it doesn't have to be this way. The shift happens when you decide you're no longer available for business as usual. When you build systems that create consistent closings and a brand that attracts clients 24/7 without chasing or hustling harder. When you have a clear vision, confident positioning, and the right strategies, you start to lay the foundation and you lead with intention, and then everything changes. The expansion happens when you create a spacious calendar, attract elevated clients, and finally feel in control of your business. And ultimately, you become the version of yourself you've always known you were capable of, the embodied CEO whose energy, brand, and systems all work together to create lasting success. This is exactly why I created the Elevated Agent Collective. It's a coaching and mentorship experience designed to help you implement everything you've learned today so you can scale sustainably, confidently, and with the support that you deserve. The collective is built around a proven framework: learn, implement, refine, and collaborate. This is how you build a business that doesn't just look successful, but actually feels aligned and sustainable. First, you'll get access to the Elevated Agent Academy, my self-paced curriculum that walks you step by step through building a brand-based business that attracts your ideal client without burnout. These concise lessons include templates, workbooks, and practical tools to help you implement right away, which you can find in a great app. You can consume this in the car, walking the dog, at the gym. I make it so that it makes it as easy as possible for you to learn on your schedule. Second, you'll have weekly live group coaching calls with me, as well as monthly calls with my team. This is where you can bring your questions, get personalized support, and connect with a community of ambitious agents who are on the same path as you. You'll also have access to our private in-app community and accountability groups, so you're never building alone. This is your space to ask questions, share wins, and stay inspired. You'll also unlock the Vault, my complete library of proven templates, workflows, and resources. These are the exact systems we use to scale to multiple seven figures in GCI and build a recognized luxury brand. Liz said it best: the collective truly over delivers. The resources and operational tools alone are worth more than the investment, and the high level conversations with other top producing agents have been invaluable. Jamie shared that the collective helped her increase efficiency, growing her business by at least 25% and scaling to serving 12 to 15 clients at a time instead of 3 to 4. JD said that since joining, he's implemented tools and systems that let him sell fewer homes, but make the same amount of money because he's working smarter, not harder. Caitlin described it as the most innovative and holistic experience she's ever encountered. As a bonus, you'll also get access to the Own Your Business Real Estate Tracker. This is the exact tool that helped us grow from $25 million to over $100 million in volume, giving you the clarity and data that you need to make confident decisions. Right now, you have two paths you can take. Path one is to keep operating in reactive hustle mode, relying on motivation instead of systems, and hoping that the next season will feel different. Or path two, you can step fully into your role as CEO, building a sustainable, scalable business with the clarity, support, and strategy you've been craving. You might be thinking, I'm too busy. That is exactly why this exists, to give you back your time, energy, and focus. Or maybe you've tried coaching before. This is different. You're getting a proven framework, ongoing mentorship, and the exact tools I've used to build a top performing team, not generic advice. Or perhaps, what if I can't make it work? You will have step-by-step guidance, weekly coaching, and a community to support you every step of the way. I promise if you show up, I will not let you fail. If you're feeling that resonance in your gut, I want you to trust it. Spots are limited, so every agent gets the high-touch support you deserve. Click the link below or scan the QR code and start building your elevated empire today. I cannot wait to welcome you inside. But before we wrap up, I want to share one last story with you about why this matters so much to me personally. I want to show you again the picture of my sweet kids on the day that they put their playhouse for sale. Fast forward to my two teenagers just a couple months ago. What I know is that life comes at you fast. These kids are watching. And in what feels like the blink of an eye, my kids have gone from these little guys all the way to kids who I can see the light at the tunnel and the fact that they are not going to be home for that much longer. And I am so proud of the fact that I have modeled to them a mother who is going after her dreams. I have modeled to them somebody who is sacrificing while also making sure that I am bringing my very best to them as a parent. I know that my kids will not ever look back at me and say that I was not trying my very best to live up to my highest and best potential for my life. And I know that in doing so, I'm inspiring them to do the same. And so I want to share a little funny thing that I got just this past year for my birthday. My daughter wrote me a handwritten card, and part of it says, I love you so much, and I'm so proud of you for how far you've come in this year alone. You inspire me every day to not marry rich and be a housewife. I mean, that girl. But I love this. Honestly, when I saw this, I laughed out loud. And I also thought, okay, she gets it. She gets it. She is seeing me and she's inspired by what I'm doing. And I know that even though she may or may not follow down my path in life in real estate, I know that I am setting an example for her that I can be proud of. So those of you who are still here, if you're still watching this, I just want to directly talk to you for a second and say that if this resonated for you, if you could see yourself in the stories that I'm sharing, and if you can relate to the different pain points that I experienced as an agent, you are exactly the person that I created this program for. So if you are still here and you're still listening to this, you need to join us in the Elevated Agent Collective. You will not regret it. There is so much wonderful transformation happening to the students in this program, and I'm so proud to lead it. And I would love to invite you to become a part of it. Thank you so much for being here today. Have a great rest of your day.